This conference will now be recorded.
Sound down now. All right, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you now, Ina.
Okay, can you hear me online?
I can hear you on the phone, Ina. I'm dialed in on the phone number.
And you can hear online as well.
Okay, how do I start scrolling this thing?
What are you trying to do?
I'm sure it's here.
Yeah, so double, so if you kind of navigate over here and then double click.
Okay, I can actually see them. Actually, if you get rid of this thing, I can actually see who's there. The pictures were there, right?
Yeah, you can adjust this and see it'll just kind of, as people sign in, it gets smaller and smaller. It's like adding in everybody to the view.
Okay.
But if you don't want to see this, if you didn't want to see this, you could minimize it. With 2 fingers.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great crowd in person, not a crowd, I wouldn't call it a crowd, socially distanced members, a little meeting, just a little one. And then we also have some great individuals who have joined us online. This will be an interesting test case in how to host a meeting both online and in person. So forgive me if I am not looking in the right direction. That could happen. So I will turn it over to Ina to call our meeting to business, and thank you all for being here.
Good morning, everybody. Whether you're in person at the beautiful Ocean Ballroom on the help if I turn my sound on. I want to welcome everyone to our January 26th, first in-person Marketing Advisory Committee meeting in many, many months. And this is, as you know, a hybrid meeting, so we have to be patient with the technology. And I want to thank Danelle Zonker, who is the general manager of Harbor Beach, as also Chris Bilski, who is on our Marketing Advisory Committee, who's the director of sales and marketing, for hosting us this morning and really keeping us safe. This is a really beautiful ocean ballroom. We see the ocean, but we're very far away from each other, and that works really well. I also want to thank Kara and the marketing team and Stacy and the whole CVB team for not only everything you had to do to set up today, including Aqua being here and doing the technology, but quite frankly, everything you've done. That's exceptional to keep us on track and going forward all through these challenging months. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to thank all members of the Marketing Advisory Committee, because your input, as always, makes a huge difference as we navigate going forward in these very unusual times. So thank you for being here. So I'm going to ask Joanna if you would read the roll call. And the way we're going to do this, folks, If you're on GoToMeetings, okay, we're going to ask you to unmute yourself briefly. And obviously, if you're here, we know you're here in person. But this meeting is unusual in that if you are in GoToMeetings, you count towards the quorum and you also count towards the attendance. So, Joanna, please.
Carmen Ackerman. Pam Adams.
Yes, I'm here.
Susan E. Charles Sanders.
Here.
Steve Bellamy.
Here.
Chris Bielski.
Here.
Keith Blackburn.
Right here.
John Butin.
Here.
Joellen Felmus. I thought I saw her logged on, so.
She is on.
Ari Glassman. Here. Amanda Harris. Here. Robert Kiesler. Here. Ellen Kennedy.
Here.
Ryan is here. Tara Lundgren. Meredith McCleary. Here. Melissa Milroy. James Pancallo.
Here.
Tim Petrillo.
Here.
Sandra Rios. Elizabeth Rizzuto. Bobby Rodriguez.
Here.
Michael Sol. Bobby's here. Christina Schwartzman Sovereign.
Yes, I'm here.
Raylan Story.
I'm here.
Carol Track.
Here.
Almost a full house, I know.
Okay, so we have a quorum. With that, we can officially get going. I also want first to have an approval for our minutes that were sent to you. Motion from somebody? Okay, and who was that? Bob Kiesler. Okay, and a second? Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, great. All right, with that, I'm going to introduce our president and CEO of our Convention and Visitor Bureau, Stacy Ritter. And Stacy's going to be with us for a very brief period of time because she has to go to the county commission. And so Stacy will be with us for about 30 minutes. And Stacy, it's all yours.
Thank you, Ina. Good morning, everybody. As I said to a couple of you this morning, it's nice to see someone else besides my husband. Nice to see new faces, old faces who are new to us now. I've got a couple of points of business. It shouldn't take too long, and as Ina said, I've got to get to the county commission. Hence the heels, which I haven't worn in like 9 months. So first of all, it has come to our attention that it's time. It looks like there are some members of the Marketing Advisory Committee who were not appointed according to the Broward County Ordinance. And there is a Broward County Ordinance on how the Marketing Advisory Committee members are appointed. They are, in fact, appointed by the Tourist Development Council. The 11 members of the Tourist Development Council each get one appointment, and then collectively as a body they appoint 12 more. That has not happened. Some of you may have actually been appointed that way, but there's no record of that. And I know for a fact that some of you were not appointed that way. So what we have to do is start from scratch. So at the March TDC meeting, they're going to be appointing and or reappointing members of the Marketing Advisory Committee. They'll move to basically disband the committee and then start from scratch. If you wish to continue to serve on the Marketing Advisory Committee, please get your resumes to me by February 10th. And then we'll put them up. As I said, each member of the TDC gets an appointment, so that person will nominate. If you have relationships with members of the TDC, you might want to call them. If you want to get renominated to serve on the Marketing Advisory Committee, and then the other, the ones who are not individually nominated will be approved as a board. So that's that. Any questions about that?
Stacey, there's one question I have that I think is a clarification. To be on the Marketing Advisory Committee, you have to be a resident of Broward County?
Yes, and you have to have some connection to the tourism industry or marketing, but yes, you have to be a resident of Broward County. Okay, so let's move on to number 2.
Another question, Stacey. When do they need to get their resumes in by?
February 10th.
I'm sorry?
February 10th.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Just send them to me, sritter@broward.org. RITTER, and I'll put them in a folder and We'll get them to the members of the TDC well in advance of the March meeting. The date of the March meeting escapes me, but I think it's the third week. So February 10th, you'll be safe. The other piece of business that I think we need to have a chat about today is Visit Florida. There has been a lot of chatter over these past few months about the CVB not rejoining Visit Florida and why that is. There's been a lot of email communication that's gone around, some of which, quite frankly, I haven't been privy to, has not been sent to me, although my name has been in many of those email conversations. I fortunately had friends send them to me, so I know what's being said out there. But there's been a lot of gossip and rumor about why the Greater Fort Lauderdale CVB has not rejoined Visit Florida at this time. And I'm headed to the County Commission today because there's an item on their agenda which seeks to place in their legislative package support of full funding for Visit Florida in this current legislative session. Just to let you know, the CVB has no position on that. We do not oppose or support that. We are staff. It is a policy-making decision. The Board of County Commissioners votes on the legislative package, not the CVB. So if asked today by the board, we have no position on that one way or the other. We do, however, have a position on Visit Florida, which is why we haven't rejoined. And I will tell you that 3 years ago, I made the decision not to rejoin Visit Florida. Why? We felt that their marketing wasn't up to our standards. We felt that their diversity and inclusion programs were not up to our standards. We didn't feel that they really gave a whole lot of support to large DMOs because we are so diverse and so multicultural, and quite frankly, it is hard to market the whole state of Florida. I would have a very hard time figuring out how to market the entire state of Florida, and so what they do is they just market the whole state of Florida as one. We are a completely different destination than Panama City or Pensacola Beach. And we like it that way. And we promote it and we support it. And more importantly, we live it. Our community values are represented in what you see being put out there by the CVB. Multiculturalism, diversity, inclusion, embracing other cultures, embracing other languages, embracing people from all over the world. And we just don't feel that Visit Florida does it. And when they do it, which is not often, it's not up to the standards that we'd like to see. In fact, I was just looking at a video that they had put up in August called 60 Seconds in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Much of the video was shot before I even arrived at CVB 5 years ago. We're not even using that video anymore. We're using completely different visuals. We have a completely new brand we're putting out to you today. So I made the decision 3 years ago, and I was asked by the industry to give it one more go, to try one more year, continue to talk to them, ask them to tell them what we needed, make suggestions on how they could better serve their public sector community. I'm not talking from the hotel perspective. I don't know the relationships that hotels have with Visit Florida. I can only tell you the relationship this DMO has with Visit Florida. So we did. We made suggestions. We had conversations with their leadership. We asked for things like committee structure to be put back into place. They did away with the committee structure several years ago. Let's serve our committees. I can do it to Jazz if you want me to. Let's serve on committees. I didn't touch anything. Oh, no. Okay. Oh, okay. Someone out there was jazzing it up. We asked if they could put in a program of direct grants instead of matching programs. Give us the money. It's really our money anyway. It's tax dollars. Give us the money and let us spend it as we see fit, and let us place our media where we want to, not where you want to. Those conversations went nowhere. But we did rejoin that year, and we tried. And so the next year I told the industry, we really don't want to rejoin this year. And I was, Stacy, give it one more go, try it one more year. We did the exact same things we had done. We had conversations. The leadership had changed in the meantime. We had conversations. We asked for certain things. We made suggestions on how we could help them help us be better at servicing their public sector clientele. Again, most of those conversations ended up in a black hole. Emails were not responded to. There were no phone conversations between us. But we did rejoin. So now here we are, year 3. And I said, we're not going to rejoin Visit Florida. And this year, the response from the industry was, it's a different year. Let's try it one more year. It's a different year. And quite frankly, it is a different year. But if you look at Visit Florida's marketing, they're marketing like it's a pre-pandemic. They're marketing like they were marketing this time last year. We aren't. Visitors have changed. The reasons visitors come have changed. The kinds of visitors who come have changed. The marketing has changed. We've had no choice. We pulled back on our UK and European marketing months ago. We canceled our contracts. We paused our contracts with our German rep and our UK rep. Visit Florida is still spending money in the UK today, even though they're on lockdown. They can't come here from the UK. They're still marketing in Canada. They're still spending money in markets where people cannot visit here. And their response is that we need to stay top of mind. And while we would agree that we need to stay top of mind, not everything that's coming out of the state of Florida these days is stuff you want to put out there. And so we made the decision back in June that we would not rejoin. And here we are in the end of January. We are not members of Visit Florida today. We do not intend to rejoin Visit Florida today. But we do intend to keep the door open. We can rejoin at any time. This isn't like Medicare. There's not an open enrollment period. The door is always open for us to rejoin. And in the event we find programs which suit our purposes and market and promote our destination as we believe it should be marketed and promoted, we'll rejoin. I know they just recently announced Visit Florida was awarded a $5 million EDA grant. That's great. So I sent an email off to what is now the third president of Visit Florida since I arrived here in 2016, and said, can you tell us what are the rules? What's the policy? Is there an application? Is there a cap on the award? There's no policy in place right now. There's no application in place right now to get a piece of that money. There's no process in place. There's no rules. I know that there was an email that went out that said there's an 80-20 match program. Today, that program does not exist. There is no such 80-20 program at Visit Florida today. It's expected that's what the EDA program will be, but again, there are no rules for that program yet. And once there are rules in place, and we've had an opportunity to read them, we'll review it again. And we review it regularly. Should we rejoin? Are we ready to rejoin? Today, we are not. But that does not mean that we will not rejoin, and that does not mean that we are not keeping the door open. And that's the reason today we have joined Miami and Orlando and Kissimmee and chosen not to rejoin Visit Florida at this time.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up to the Marketing Advisory Committee to ask questions or whatever you need to say.
Stacey, aren't there, everyone's budget is stretched to the limit. We know that there's going to be choices to be made. Being a member of Visit Florida, doesn't that help expand our marketing dollars?
Oh, doesn't that? Oh, sorry.
That helps.
I thought the red light meant I couldn't speak.
Folks, I need to let you know, if you want to speak, you hit it. If it's red, then then you can talk. If it's on white, you're on mute.
Okay. So for those who didn't hear me, with budgets being so tight and stretched, isn't there an advantage to being with Visit Florida in order to stretch our marketing dollars?
There can be an advantage. That's not to say that there is. Because if the programs that they are offering us don't work for us, aren't in our marketing plan, aren't the markets that we are currently seeking or that we see in the near future that we will be marketing to, there's no point in spending money. If I have $1,000 to spend, if I buy $1,000, if you say to me, if you buy this, you put up 1,000, I'll put up 1,000, and I say that's great, but I don't need what you're selling, then my $1,000 has been wasted. And right now, that's how we perceive today, again, it may not be always, but that's today how we perceive the programs that are being offered. They are the same programs that were offered pre-pandemic. And if you've seen what we're doing, we recognize we're in the middle of a global pandemic. And you can't market the way you marketed a year or a year and a half ago. It has to change. And we don't see that has happened.
Got a question. They advertise as Visit Florida as the official tourism marketing corporation for the state of Florida. And, we've been doing business with Visit Florida for a long time, with the CVB, co-op, so on and so forth. and there's a lot of information from Visit Florida, but what is the cost to pay for Visit Florida? I understand it's $6,000.
Correct.
Is that right?
It's not the $6,000. It's not the $6,000 membership fee at all. What goes along with that $6,000 membership fee, however, is a state law that requires us or any member to every June collect all of our income and expenditures and put it together for the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the state of Florida, the state Senate President, and the governor. That process takes us a couple of weeks and an entire department every year. And the legislature, in its wisdom, doesn't give us a large enough electronic file. So we copy thousands of pages of paper, send it in boxes to the state house, the state senate, and the governor, where it most likely sits on a shelf. It's a tremendous amount of work. And if you're not going to use any of the programs, but the $6,000 membership gets you this burden of having to, and again, we're a public agency. Anybody can drop a public records request on us and get this information. But it is an arduous process, and if you're not using their programs, what's the point?
What are some of the benefits that they offer?
Who?
Visit Florida to you, to CVB.
They offer matching programs. They offer one-to-one matching programs for cooperative marketing. They have a 25% always-on program where they will provide 25% of the cost of a program if the CVB puts up 75%. They have offered, when we were doing large trade shows in either UK, Germany, Brazil, we would buy space from them. Because it was too expensive for an individual CVB to buy space at those large trade shows, so they would buy the space and then parcel it out to the CVBs, allowing us the opportunity to attend those large trade shows. So those are some of the benefits. But I will tell you that any one of those benefits, we can find other organizations that will provide those kinds of services and have, for example, Brand USA. We had made the decision before the pandemic that any international trade shows we were going to, we would be using Brand USA's space, not Visit Florida space.
For $6,000, wouldn't it be best for everybody to use Visit Florida and Brand USA? For $6,000, you just told me how much we're getting in return. Wouldn't that be beneficial?
Well, as I said, it's not the $6,000, and you're only getting the return if the programs work. And in addition to that, Broward County is a very diverse place. We have over 180 languages spoken in households in this county. We have 2 million people from all over the world who've made this place their home. The flavor of this county is different than you would find anywhere else. And we believe that's a strength. And we live that value, not only in the county, but in government and specifically at the CVB. And we don't feel that Visit Florida shares our community values. And quite frankly, we don't want to belong to an organization that doesn't share our community's values and doesn't value what we value. And today, they don't appear to value the inclusiveness, the diversity of this destination. Now, I will tell you that I think that they do a decent job with small and medium destinations, but I don't think they know how to handle large, urban, diverse counties like ours.
One question. CARE's been involved, I think you've been involved with Visit Florida probably, and you've been in business for a long time. Aqua's been around, I think, for a long time now. What are their views? Have you discussed this with your team and
Sure.
Everybody agrees with the same opinion as you?
Not everybody agrees, but at the end of the day, I'm the CEO and I made the decision.
What I suggest is that we get somebody from Visit Florida here. Get somebody and bring them in here, and why not? And listen to what they have to say.
Well, because we have. Last year, the president went to the Board of County Commissioners and made a presentation. And quite frankly, gave a great dog and pony show about what it looks like they're doing. Take a look at their website. If you take a look at their About the Beaches page, we're not even listed as the best beaches of Florida. They list North Miami Beach and South Beach as two of the best beaches. Miami's not a member, so they're getting the benefit without being a member. You have to dig to find Fort Lauderdale as a beach. That's a problem. We were, up until this year, the largest DMO member. The largest DMO member. And we did not get treated as such. We did not get treated as an important and valued partner. And to be fair, I don't think they care. I don't think they care. They have made no attempt to court our rejoining, to offer things to us that would be beneficial to us. Now, I know that there was an email that went around that talked about Palm Beach getting a bespoke marketing plan, and that we should do the same thing. That cost Palm Beach $150,000. It wasn't free. It wasn't something that, out of the generosity and goodness of their heart, Visit Florida did. We have a marketing company. We pay a lot of money to Aqua. They write our marketing plan for us. We don't need Visit Florida to do that for us. That was money that I wouldn't have spent.
What's Aqua suggest? Do they say they have the same views as you as far as getting Visit Florida or not?
I haven't asked them what they think about the rejoining. We have asked them for recommendations on programs that they think would be beneficial. And I read what they wrote, and I appreciate that everybody has a different opinion. But and I appreciate that you're a member. But I would suggest, respectfully, that your relationship with them as an individual hotel is completely different than the relationship of a large CVB.
Jim Pancella, Lagomar Resort.
I can offer a different perspective from a hotelier point of view, if you'd like. So I think you're asking great questions. I'm Amanda Harris, Diplomat Beach Resort. So I agree with the CVB's decision, and great for me. It's a business decision, and you're asking $6,000. It's not a lot. I don't think we need 2 spots at a trade show. We can do a lot more with digital marketing and measurable returns, and a lot more advertising that we can see and make our own, versus being these blanketed Visit Florida campaigns that are tired and have not changed for hundreds of years. I don't know how long they've been around, but I absolutely agree with the CVB's decision, and at the Diplomat Beach Resort was doing the same decision. So just from my inside approach, $6,000, it's not a lot of money, but put it into digital marketing and we can get a lot more out of it, is my opinion.
John.
John Bowden, Windjammer Resort. My question has to do with the politically charged atmosphere that we seem to have all the time everywhere. Do you foresee any negative connotations from, or how they could possibly negatively affect our marketing efforts here in Broward County, since they don't really seem to really care much about us if you make this, or having made this decision?
Thank you, John. I don't see that. I actually think they're relieved not to have us as members, because for the past 3 years we've done a lot of asking questions, a lot of questions. Why are you doing this? What benefit does this give us? I don't think that a lot of the DMOs who are members ask a lot of questions. We made suggestions that I don't think a lot of DMOs do, which is fine. Again, this isn't about any other DMO or who's in and who's out, and I think they're relieved.
I think I have Carol Trace on the line who wants to ask a question. Carol, if you're there, can you unmute yourself? I see you. She's unmuted.
It's not coming
Joanna,
through.
can you unmute her? I'm sorry?
Well, in the meantime, I have a quick question. So, I guess.
Well, while we're trying to unmute Carol, someone else.
Chris Bielski, Harbor Beach. In relation to your question, and I was going to ask this: is there a negative connotation if we put our logo up on the Visit Florida site? Because I think exposure is exposure. I like the access to certain trade shows down the road when they come back for group, and I've got we used to be about a 60% group house. We aren't anymore, but we expect to be by the end of this year. Otherwise, all bets are off. And so I like that access. Would that play into our decision when we get down there?
Sure.
Because I know shows like IMAX are very expensive, And so my counter question is, does the lay consumer who's outside of Florida, they probably don't see any of this, and they probably think Visit Florida, Fort Lauderdale, okay, it makes sense, but even if their marketing doesn't work, just having our name out there in another area just seems to be worth $6,000. And I get the whole thing, this whole compliance and reporting. If that's a huge undertaking and costs lots of money, well, maybe that's a good, valid reason. But I just think maybe the benefits outweigh that. I'm not sure.
And thank you, Chris. And I promise you, we have weighed all of these. But I would go back to John's question. Do you think not being a member has hurt Orlando, or Miami, or Palm Beach? Palm Beach rejoined this year, but they hadn't been members for the past 3 years. Do you think that they were harmed by not being members? Because I don't think that they were hurt at all by not, either politically or from a visitor perspective. Yep. And there are other options as it relates to trade shows. There are other ways to get there. Now, for any of you who have gone, and I don't know if any of you or anybody on the I don't know how you see these little boxes. Who are these? They're so tiny. Have traveled with us. But I sat in lots of trade show booths my first few years in Visit Florida space. And it was a very generically branded space. Ours looked amazing. I mean, we completely redid our trade show booths to make them attractive and welcoming to people, especially for non-appointment shows. But Visit Florida's was very generic. And I don't know if you're going to see any of it today, but we've gotten a little edgier and a lot more cosmopolitan with the stuff we're doing. And again, I know that's hard to do on a statewide basis. We are not Pensacola Beach. And it is hard to market Pensacola Beach and Greater Fort Lauderdale in the same way. You can't. We don't even go to the same places for our visitors. But we're pushing the envelope. We want to be interesting and innovative and creative, not to win awards, but to make people relook at us or look at us for the first time and say, you know what? I think that's someplace I want to go. I like the way those people look. They look like me. Or they don't look like me and I want to go someplace where I can meet new people. That's not Visit Florida's blanket marketing program. So no, I don't think that there's any disadvantage. And if there is, I promise you, we will relook at joining. We do it every. Trust me, I've been having this. And by the way, none of you knew we hadn't rejoined until something happened at an FRLA meeting because nothing had changed. We didn't even use any of their programs last year, and nothing changed. We were members, but we didn't use their programs, and nothing changed. And we're going to keep doing what we're doing, and we're going to keep raising that bar. We're going to keep putting out creative and innovative marketing and promotions and a brand new logo because we think that the new Greater Fort Lauderdale blows the doors off of anything Visit Florida can provide for us. And we think we're showing that every day.
All right, other questions? Carol, are you unmuted now?
She has a question and she posted it on the chat. And her question is, can we have a motion to vote from the MAC committee for the GFL-CVB to join Visit Florida as a partner? And that she agrees with the idea for Visit Florida and Brand USA giving us a presentation to Waist Strength.
Okay. I got her request for a motion. So first of all, I guess procedurally, we need to have a second to that motion, then we can continue discussing it. So I have a second to that motion.
Can I ask one more question before? Again, would it be beneficial for somebody from Visit Florida to come into this committee and do a presentation? And all these things that they're doing wrong, we can address that.
I don't think that it hurts, okay? But I do believe that you're going to get the same kind of dog and pony show that they gave the county commission, showing all the amazing things that they say they're doing, which quite frankly don't meet our expectations. So you can come and you can have them talk to you. You can come and have you can have anybody talk to you. But I look at what they do and what they say and what they promise with a very jaded eye these days, because for 3 years we have been talking to them and we haven't seen any change. And we're not asking, by the way, for everything we ask for. We realize we're not going to get everything we ask for, but at least entertain our suggestions. Don't not respond. Don't pretend that you didn't receive the email or the phone call. We had a meeting with Dana Young, Ina, Heiko, Andreas, Kara was on the phone, a Zoom call 2 months ago, and we asked her. We had about an hour conversation, maybe about an hour. The conversation was supposed to go until 12:30. At 12:20, she told us she had someplace else to be and needed to go. Okay, the time had been blocked off for months, weeks, months, and the president of Visit Florida couldn't give us the full time. Her largest DMO member, or previously her largest DMO, couldn't give us the full time that we are all busy people. We all blocked the time off. She had to go. So we didn't really get to complete the conversation. There was no follow-up. There was no outreach. There was no, dear GFL CVB, thank you so much. We hope that we can continue these conversations. We'd love to have you back as a member. Tell us what we can do. That's what I would have done. If I wanted someone to belong, I would make them feel like they were welcome. And we get exactly the opposite. And honestly, we had a mask conversation during that meeting. I asked her if she talked to the governor, and we're talking a few months ago here. So we've all read surveys, we've all seen the responses, which suggest that visitors want to go places where they feel safe. And I asked her if she had discussed a mask mandate with the governor. Did she go in and give our perspective, a DMO perspective, a visitor perspective? Did she show the governor the surveys? And her response to me was, I wouldn't tell you if I spoke to the governor, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you what we said. Okay? We pay her salary. I think that's a pretty crappy thing to say, and not very welcoming or embracing. And then there was no follow-up. So, of course, have someone from Visit Florida come and show you all the things that they have to offer. But again, just because they offer it doesn't mean we need it. So keep that in mind.
Wouldn't it benefit you if they come in here and do a presentation that as a committee, we can make them accountable for what they say in front of a committee?
Well, I guess the question is, what's the accountability? Not joining? They don't care. To them, that's a benefit. They just don't care. But again, you guys, you're an independent recommending you're an advisory board here. You can have anybody come talk to you. But I would ask you, when you take a look at all the pretty pictures and all the things that they claim they can offer, how much of it is stuff that we really want?
I had a question down that part of the table. I couldn't see who was raising their hand.
It's Meredith McCleary. I have been involved, I know, of Visit Florida from almost its inception in my previous career and capacity. I believe in it, and I think that it has a lot of merit. I did not necessarily know the perspective that you
Meredith,
just
can
shared.
you speak a little bit louder?
You can't hear me?
Just move the mic closer to your face, please. That would help. Thank you.
Do I need to start over again? Okay, I was saying that I've been involved with Visit Florida since its inception in my previous career, and I believe a lot in what it has done and does for Florida. I also have heard that maybe there are some problems as far as the leadership of the management that has caused some of the concerns throughout the state. I've listened to the positions and noted some of the concerns that you have, and I guess my bottom line question is, what is it and one other thing I'd like to mention is I did receive notification from someone who is with the hotel groups here in Broward and really made a step-by-step good rationale as to why it should be supported by our commission. So the bottom line is, what is it you really want from the marketing committee, and what impact, if any, do we have on your decision at this particular time?
Well, thank you. I'm not asking for anything from this advisory board. I had heard that some of you had some questions because you were basically getting, excuse me, emails, inundated with emails, and we were not responding. So I just wanted you all to hear it from the horse's mouth. But today, your opinion, while it matters, won't change my mind today. But again, the door is always open. And to Chris's point, something I wanted to say when Chris asked his question, made his comment. Visit Florida doesn't have a marketing component for group business, for MICE. They don't have a marketing component. They are overwhelmingly leisure, almost exclusively leisure. So there's no marketing plan to get your group business back from Visit Florida. We have a plan for that. The reemergence of the cruise industry is imminent. We keep, May 1st looks like the date today. Could change, but today looks like the date for the reemergence of the cruise industry. They have no marketing plan for the cruise industry. They have no help for us to get the cruise industry back on its feet and to get visitors back pre and post. I don't have that. I would suggest that our data and our analytics, our science, that which we rely on to put together our marketing plan, is far superior to theirs today. We've worked really hard to get this CVB where it needed to be to help you all do what you all do so well, which is bring visitors here. We spent years now turning this place on its ear. You all know that for years money was spent unwisely. It was spent without records, without a paper trail. Your money, the money you entrust to the CVB to spend, to benefit you. You all knew it. So I called for an audit when I got here, nearly 5 years ago now. And we have worked every day to get this CVB on its feet and where it needs to be. And part of that is the science that we now use to put together our plans so that you get what you need from us. Part of that change is putting the right people in place who understand their fiscal responsibility to the taxpayers of this county to make sure that we can do what we need to do, but we do it legally and ethically. That's all that is a vast 180-degree change from where this place was 5 years ago. And we're very proud of that. And in that analysis of fiscal responsibility and treating these dollars as they should be, not as our own, but as the taxpayers' dollars, we've made the determination that we will not be spending money at Visit Florida at this time.
I have Ari.
I don't have a question. Well, I do have a question.
Say your name.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ari Glassman. I am not involved with Visit Florida. I'm not a hotelier. I'm not a restaurant. I've never been, an association member. I'm members of other organizations because it does look good for me as a business. I'm a marketer, and that's what I do. Is there, in listening to what you said about going back year after year and asking for things that would make sense for our destination, and then in consideration that both Miami, Orlando, Palm Beach, you said just rejoined, but you are basically the three largest DMOs that are not members at this time today. Is this an opportunity for you and Miami's head and Orlando's to get together and discuss the things that you feel would make Visit Florida better for the whole state, but primarily bring in your ideas collectively as the three largest tourism areas, and then go, and then look at it.
That's a great
because
idea.
if you've got power, okay, great. But, you know, there's powerhouses and there's strength in numbers, and there's obviously what everybody's saying around the table, too. You have the restaurant industry, you have the hotel industry. Everybody seems to want to be a part of this, and they are themselves. Your decision is your decision. This is why the CVB is in place. You collectively have a very strong voice together that can maybe push them into a new direction of looking at things differently.
I think that's a great idea. And Visit Orlando has a brand new CBB president. It's a great opportunity to, and I don't know her. It's a great opportunity to introduce myself to her and have that conversation. It's a great idea, Ari.
That way, I mean, and that way too, if the three largest in the state can't get them to move their needle into a direction, I think there would be perhaps less, I'm not going to say the right word, I'm going to say animosity, you know, towards your real strong feelings of that it's just not worth it, because $6,000 is nothing.
No.
But it's the point of $1 is a waste if it's not going to buy you something that's of value, if there's no return on investment.
And we will do that. I pledge to you we will do that. And if you want us to keep talking to Visit Florida, we'll keep talking to Visit Florida. But not as members. And you know, I was asked, well, just rejoin and then talk to them. Well, I think we lose a lot of leverage that way. And right now we have some leverage.
Can I just
say, I have a question. We have a lot to say. Who's that over there? I can't see. Yeah. Carmen, go ahead.
Oh, hi, Carmen Ackerman. Thank you, Stacy. I was a member of Visit Florida for years and years, and I have to echo a lot of the sentiments you feel. I don't feel they are reflective of our community, South Florida. However, when we brought this up about 3 years ago, when we first were considering going away from them, we did talk about, and it's similar to what Ari had suggested, but we talked about an alliance with South Florida to be able to create almost our own mini DMO as a region, as a destination. And I think that that would be a great supplement to something like a Visit Florida if we were to brand and market our destination as a region and really highlight all the players within that region. Where has that conversation gone?
That conversation's gone nowhere for a couple of reasons. Well, we did have them. Palm Beach, getting a tri-county DMO was difficult from the legal perspective, and from where the funding comes from. Everybody could give a piece, but is there a board of directors? Is it a public agency? Because we're a public agency. Miami is part. Palm Beach is a 501c6. So there was when we spoke to the county attorneys about it, there was no way to figure out, there was no way to get to us putting money in and granting that to a separate board to spend. Having said that, I know Ed Simon, our EVP, works very closely with his counterpart in Palm Beach on the group business. We travel with Palm Beach for group business. We host joint events with Palm Beach, with Discover the Palm Beaches when it comes to the group space. Miami is less interested. Although they need help on the MICE side, they don't need help on the leisure side in their opinion, and so they're less interested in joining us as a tri-county effort. But we do work very well with Discover the Palm Beaches and have been very happy with the results. But we each do it, and instead of pooling our money, we each put it in separately.
Guys, we have a lot to say today. We have to see the whole creative presentation. So Melissa, and then I'm going to try to bring this to a close if I could. First of all, I want to see any other MAC members that have any comments. Melissa, you'll go first, please.
So, Stacy, thank you for clarifying a lot. I appreciate hearing your opinion. And, while I understand that there could be benefits to Visit Florida, I have participated in the trade shows. I think there were issues with the trade shows that weren't on Visit Florida's part, but I also don't think there were on your part. I think it was prior to you coming on board. So that's a whole other discussion.
Was who coming on board?
Before you came on board.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
and I certainly understand that we have a new branding campaign, and if it doesn't fall in line with what they do with our new branding, like I get it. I completely get it. My question though is, you brought up earlier Brand USA. I am curious what the membership costs for Brand USA and what they do differently to benefit us versus Visit Florida.
We spend six figures with Brand USA. Who is that? Do you want to talk? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. We find that first of all, they are more attentive to our needs when we ask them. And I don't work with them directly. Tracy Vaughn does, who's our global leisure sales. Is that the name of that department? Global leisure? Anyway. We had chosen to go to trade shows with Brand USA because we would be the only Florida destination in the Brand USA space, which separates us from our competitors in Florida. So that was something that and by the way, we had made the decision before the pandemic we weren't going to go to large international trade shows anymore anyway, because they were very expensive and didn't necessarily get the return on the investment. And I don't know that they're ever really coming back the way they were. So their marketing cooperative programs seem to work better for us. They embrace a culture that is very similar to the culture we embrace within and without the CVB. Their president is more, their leadership seems to be more in tune with diversity and inclusion, and the marketing that they put out raises the bar. They do push the envelope when it comes to marketing, and they're marketing the entire country, which is a lot harder than marketing one state. We also are members of an organization called Signature for luxury leisure sales, which is an appointment, and they do a couple of times a year appointment trade shows. That's a separate contract that we have with Signature. If you look at the budget, you'll see that there are other, and I can be more specific with you when I take a look at the budget again. But we are involved in 6 or 7 other organizations which help us market and provide client lists, specific buyer lists, so that we know these people are actually looking to buy. You don't get that from Visit Florida because they're just a marketing, and I get that they're just a marketing a company, whatever they call themselves, agency, umbrella organization. But there are others, and we continue to look for them, and we continue to find them. It doesn't help us to be placed with. It doesn't help us if we are placed with other destinations in Florida. It doesn't separate us. You say, let's put our logo up, and people will see our logo. I don't know that putting our logo up with 10 others on an ad helps us. In fact, I'm pretty sure it doesn't help us. I don't think it hurts us, but I don't think it really does anything for us because you're not really seeing who we are and what we are. And there are some advertorials that we have been involved with Visit Florida where it's our content. But we are lumped in with the Funiac Springs and thinking of some other smaller, Destin. And we are completely different than that. And Brand USA seems to understand the diversity and inclusiveness of this destination and lives that community value with us.
All right. So any other MAC members who want to make a comment? And I can't, if you're online, can you see Joanna? Yeah. There's no one else? Okay. All right. So first of all,
don't forget your resumes.
I'm sorry?
Last thing, please don't forget your resumes by February 10th, 9th, 10th, whatever I said. Okay. CDC is on March 17th. Okay. 10th? February 10th. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Stacey, thanks for being with us. Drive safely. All that good stuff. Okay.
Hey, Ina.
Kara, for just a moment, please, before I want to wrap this up here. All right. So first of all, I heard 2 things today. I heard Carol make a motion. okay? There was not a second to the motion. So I need to know if there's a second to the motion because I don't want that to go unsaid. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, Jim Pancallo did make a second to that motion, okay? So discussion. Now, on this one, so Carol, your specific motion was what in the chat?
To have the MAC committee vote whether the GFL-CVB will join Visit Florida.
Okay, so that's a pretty clear motion, guys. There's a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that motion right now?
Hey, Ina, it's Kara Lundgren. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello, everyone. So I have just one discussion item, although I would make my personal vote, obviously, to join Visit Florida for various reasons. I question if a vote truly matters because I think that Stacy did just say that she doesn't believe, and I'm not misquoting her, that would change her decision at this point. So I would even offer that instead of maybe using our energy to continue this battle, it seems, I don't know if that's exactly the right word. What if we change the motion and ask that although we are not rejoining Visit Florida, we still continue as a DMO to support them. You know, Miami is not a member, but they still support Visit Florida. And I don't know, maybe we have to just work on not being so, I feel like we're always fighting it. And if we're not going to change the outcome, which is also fine, by the way, maybe we can change the direction of the message.
Okay, so is that a counter motion, Kara?
That it is a counter motion to.
By the way, let me say something very clear to you all. If this body makes a motion and second and passes it, it goes to the Tourist Development Council. Okay, so that's the purpose of this board. We are making a marketing decision motion based on who's on the Marketing Advisory Committee. That's what your job is, guys. At least until you're still here for right now. Okay, so in terms of Robert's Rule of Order, Kara, are you making a addendum to that motion? Or
this motion, let's see how this motion plays out.
So first we have to, any other discussion on that motion, because I want to vote on that motion officially, okay? And this is for Marketing Advisory Committee members only. So can you read the roll call?
Kara, can I ask one question before? How much does the state of Florida invest with Visit Florida? How much money does the state of Florida invest with Visit Florida?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Is it millions?
Yes. I mean, every year, I think their budget is at least 40 or 50 million. It used to be more than that.
I think last year was 50 million. Is that correct?
Correct. I don't know the
55.
answer, but
55. So if the state of Florida is investing in Visit Florida, why shouldn't we be part of that? I just don't understand that. That's it. Thank you. Jim Pancallo.
Okay. Jim, I don't want to put Kara on the spot, okay, right now. So, yeah, I got it, but, okay. Yeah, I got it, okay. All right, so would you call a roll call, please?
Carmen Ackerman? Pam Adams?
Yes. Here.
Steve Bellamy?
I vote to support Stacy on this one.
Chris Bilski?
I vote to, I'll say yes. Aye.
Keith Blackburn?
Sorry, I was muted. So I vote no.
John Boughton votes no.
Joellen Selmas? I don't believe she has any audio. Ari Glassman?
Yeah.
To support Visit Florida, join Visit Florida.
Support joining?
Yeah.
Yeah, Joanna, I didn't understand what we were doing at first. I vote no also.
Okay, great. Amanda Harris?
No.
No.
Ellen Kennedy?
I'm going to abstain from this one because I don't have enough knowledge.
Kara Lundgren?
Yes.
Meredith McCleary?
No.
Melissa Milroy?
No.
James Pancallo?
Yes.
Tim Petrillo?
Yes.
Bobby Rodriguez?
No.
Michael Solomon? I don't believe he has any audio either. Christina Schwartzman?
I vote yes.
Raylan Story?
I vote no.
Which doesn't have any audio, but I believe that's a yes because she.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what's your numbers?
Madam Chair.
Should we continue? I think we should continue. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was it?
I'm gonna have to look at it again.
Okay. While she's doing that, I'm going to let Kara go on start with her presentation, okay? And by the way, if you're a MAC member and you're actually with GoToMeetings and for some reason your audio is not showing, if you're a yes or a no, would you put it in your chat, please? I want to make sure
Madam
that
Chair,
everyone...
can I make a comment Ina? I just, I hope, and Kara brought this up before the vote. I know we had to take a vote. And I would certainly hope, while I voted no, I would hope that our CVB, and I don't know if that is something similar to a motion that Kara brought up earlier, that the CVB continues to look at this, that it's whatever the outcome is for now, and that it is looked at on a yearly basis. And, we're coming out of COVID, and that, if we do see that there are benefits to being a member or not benefits to not being, whatever it is, that they continue to look at it each year, instead of it being, whatever happens. We don't know what will happen at the county commission meeting today, but I do hope that Stacy and her team will continue to look at the issue, and look at the regionalism as well. I think what Carmen had to say and what Ari had to say, there's a lot of validity to that, and we should be looking at the other partners that aren't members and why they aren't members, and showing some strength to Visit Florida.
Got it.
Ina, I apologize. Ina, this is Christina from Sawgrass. I'm so sorry. My audio was muted earlier. I was on the road. Can I just add something very briefly?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Christina from Sawgrass.
Voted.
She wants to add something.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Christina.
Sorry about that, Ina. I'm on the marketing advisory committee for Visit Florida, and I was just speaking with them yesterday. They've done 250 promotions to date since January, and 97 of them have been for Southeast Florida. I know our membership is about $3,000, and I know last year they brought us a production, a co-op opportunity worth over, $1 million in earned media value. I know as a small business, we can gain the value out of this. It's a tough year. I don't know if we necessarily need to sit back and wait to be courted by anyone who has the opportunity to help us with a partnership. I think maybe we need to be looking for ways to gain value out of that instead of waiting on solutions. But I did speak to them yesterday. They are very eager to have us join, and they are very eager to help us. And even without us in Miami being members, they are actively working hard to get visitors to our destination. And I don't know about you, but any company at all right now that is making efforts to elevate my business, given that I'm down about 80%, is greatly appreciated by me, whether I'm a partner or not. And I don't know how supporting the state as a whole can be a competitive problem. I don't think it's we do it better or they do it better. I think it's somewhat.
I think she's coming out.
Christina, you're cutting out.
Sorry, thank you very much.
I
I
don't think we
appreciate
can
it.
hear
Sorry
you.
about that. Thank you, Ina.
Oh, Christina, you trailed off at the end of your
I was just saying that I don't think it's a competition. I don't think that I don't look for the companies to all market the same way that I market. I look for people that are trying to help achieve the same goal. And I look for people that are trying to get good visitors into Florida that are here to have a nice time, regardless of their background. I do see a lot of ethnicity in their marketing, but I do think that they're working in the same direction, and they have certainly a whole lot bigger budget than I do. So even a small piece of that to help elevate, my business or my efforts or my county is deeply important. And I just spent hours with them yesterday, with them figuring out how to make sure that they're bringing the most value to their partners that they can. And the word from them is that they are very eager to have us back at the table, and they are happy to do whatever it takes. I know they were asked to get a directed grant. Directed grants are actually illegal. By their definition, they are not allowed to do that with their funding. So some of the requests made of them are not able to be achieved. So I just think that I would love to have them maybe come and sit with us and allow all the MAC opportunity, the MAC members to ask our very specific questions we have for our destination, and see if we feel that $7,000 can even be returned in even an iota back again. I know all of our businesses are struggling really badly. So I think maybe we should open up that opportunity, and regardless of how the vote goes today, since everybody does seem interested in continuing that conversation. I appreciate the time. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Do you know the numbers yet?
No, ma'am, I'm waiting for somebody else to respond.
Okay. All right, folks, we're going to continue this conversation later because we're going to go into the marketing presentation from Kara right now. We'll find out what the vote is, but whatever the vote is, folks, it clearly is not unanimous in either way, and there are a lot of different viewpoints on it. One of the things I did hear at this meeting, and I think would be useful, is to actually schedule Visit Florida to come into a MAC meeting and have this conversation with them. So that this marketing advisory committee, whoever ends up being on it at our next meeting, because it won't be the same people that are in this room right now, okay, have the benefit of giving their input, hearing the input, and having this conversation. I will say one thing, folks, and this is from me personally. This whole Visit Florida situation has been divisive. And that's not what we need right now in this industry. We need to work together. We need to hear each other. We need to communicate and have open lines of communication across the board, because we have never been in a situation like this, and it's not over. So anything we can do to continue working with our Convention and Visitors Bureau, working with Visit Florida when appropriate, and there's a lot of people that are already members of Visit Florida and put their money in and get their value from that, right? But we all need to be on the same ship going in the same direction. So I'm urging the hospitality industry, and I apologize for the time on this call right now that I couldn't call on members of the community that are not specifically on the MAC just because of time right now. But I'm urging all of us, and I do mean all of us in this community, to create some harmony, working together, because we've got one common good. And that is to bring business to this destination and obviously get an ROI on it when we're looking at investing in things. But I'm really asking us, I'm actually pleading with us folks, okay, to communicate, work together, and continue this dialogue, all right? That's from me personally. It's not from any specific thing, okay? So,
Ina, this is Raylan's story. Ina, this is Raylan's story. On that regard, I think if I could, I'd like to just make a motion to ask for a presentation from Visit Florida at our next meeting or as soon as can be scheduled to the MAC committee.
Ina, this is Christina. I'd like to second that motion.
Okay. All right. Do we have to do this roll call again? All right. I'm going to say it this way. Is there anyone not in favor of that? That's on the MAC. There's anyone not in favor of inviting them to come in and make a presentation?
And I suggest bringing Lindsay Norris in from Visit Florida.
Well, whoever they bring in, okay? Is there anyone not in favor of that? Okay, then everyone who is in favor of that, can you say aye?
Aye.
Anyone that's a nay? All right, so we're going to make that request to go on the agenda. Okay, great. All right, for now, we're stopping that conversation. We are turning it over to Kara to get excited about our new brand and presentation and where we're going.
Thank you so much, Ina. Yes, we're going to get excited now, right? So just order of business, I always like to lay the record with where we are as a market update. So these numbers are here. As you see, this is year to date from January 1st to December 31st as compared to the same time last year. So I'm just laying the record to make sure you have all of this information. Occupancy down 34%, ADR is down 18%, RevPAR is down 41%, demand is down 33%, reported hotel revenue is down 40%. December 2020's leisure and hospitality direct employment is down 24%. And the year-to-date TDT revenue collections through November 2020 is down 42% compared to last year. We are still working towards getting those numbers up. Okay, so let's look at some signs of recovery. Weekly occupancy rates of 50% or better for 13 out of the last 14 weeks. That's good. So 2 strongest occupancy weeks during the pandemic were the New Year's week, as well as 2 weeks ago where we were at 57% occupancy, and then during the New Year's week at 72% occupancy. ADR above 100 for the past 4 weeks. RevPAR has been above 60 for the past 4 weeks. Saturday, January 16th, recorded the 5th highest daily demand during the pandemic. Reported hotel revenue for the week of New Year's was nearly double the reported revenue for the week of Christmas. We'd had a 27% increase in passenger traffic at FLL from November to December. And then 2019 passenger traffic increased 16% from November to December. And then 81% diner capacity for the first 20 days of January. Signs of recovery. Also, looking at the holiday demand, I love charts like this because it really puts all of those numbers into perspective. So as we see, we have that nice little upward curve, an upward movement, and we hope that we can continue with that. Traveler sentiments, always important to see what the studies are saying. This one is from Destination Analyst. 56% of American travelers say the vaccines make them more optimistic about traveling safely in the next 6 months. And I know Ina has had her first, and you're about to get your second? Good. Yes. Pardon? It is.
It's not being shared online.
Oh, okay. Technical difficulties. Hold on. Okay.
The beauty of working with technology.
Sorry.
3, 2.
Does that mean this whole time the screen wasn't sharing? Man, we can't get it right. All right, we're going to stay positive about that, though. So, and I've been reading to you what it says, so I promise you didn't miss anything. And you're going to get a copy of these slides after this, so don't you even worry about it. So I just went through traveler sentiment. Continuing, this one's from Longwoods International. 63% of American travelers have plans to travel in the next 6 months. That's up from 57% in mid-December. 51% report that their first trip this year will be to visit friends and relatives, and the vast majority of this will be by car. Those who now support opening up their community to visitors is 41%, and that is up 9%. Here's another graph. The question asked here was, at this moment, are you now interested in learning about new exciting travel experiences or destinations to visit? And you see that number is 60.8%. Also, and I know Steve is with us today, we're providing this chart. It shows domestic service, January and February. February is subject to change. So all of this, I believe, is of January the 6th. So you can see the flights there that are scheduled and the destinations. Steve, if you want to jump in, feel free. Let me know. Otherwise, I'll continue. And then just want to make sure that everybody has this for the record. So Joanna, let me know if Steve wants to jump in.
No, I'll comment with some other things when we go around the room, I guess, if we're going to do that.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that I am very excited about showing you today, and we have Aqua, our fantastic agency partner, to thank for this. What they have developed for us is a brand new dashboard. Why is a dashboard important? This is where all of the numbers live. This shows us how we're doing as far as ROI. So what we can see here is it's a succinct overview of impressions, clicks, spend, and ROI with breakouts per platform and audience segments. So that's a fancy way of saying this is how we look and see whether our campaigns are working. And if they're not working, we switch them. Especially with so much of our budget being digital, we can pivot quick. And we look at this to know whether it's working or whether it's not working. So these numbers are extremely important as we move forward. We have the ability to isolate by audience. So we can see, are we talking to the right people? Are these people responding to us in the way that we want them to? Reporting can also be manipulated by campaign as well as other variables to create various marketing snapshots. So in this example, we're looking at how Lauderdale's performed. So, I mean, it really gives us this intuitive ability to switch and change as we need to, and also to prove that the money that we're spending on certain items is working. So as additional data sources are incorporated, we're able to blend that data to provide proprietary performance measurements as well as actionable marketing signals. That's a fancy way of saying the more data we get into this dashboard, the more intuitive we can be about our decisions. And it was really great because Chip from the marketing or from Aqua's team, he spoke to the entire CVB yesterday. He gave us kind of a snapshot of, we always know that New York is our biggest market, right? But once you really start to drill down into the numbers based on some of the algorithms he's come up with, you can see some emerging markets coming through as well. So we can say, all right, we want to spend so much money and we want to go after this new market, or this market isn't going to be worth it. So we're at the beginning stages of this. This is really a foundational aspect to what we're doing, but this is so key, you guys, because we need to be looking at this constantly to make sure, as we want to be very responsible with the money that we're spending, that we're doing it in the smartest way possible. All right. Without further ado, you guys remember where we started with this, right? So we had these 5 logos, and what we did is we gave the option for anybody in the industry who wanted to help vote on this to vote, and you narrowed it down. So these are the 5 that we started with. These are the 2 that we narrowed it down to. What we did on top of that, and also based on some great recommendations from this committee, we went out and tested these logos with our clients, so some of Ed Simon's group and some of Tracy Vaughn's clients as well. We had them give us their feedback as well. And then we also did a special survey that we sent out to, this is the client survey, and I won't spend too much time on all of this. We sent a survey out to some consumers. So we tested the 5 original logos across a sample of 200 consumers using an online survey tool. These are the markets that we hit up: Atlanta, DC, New York, and Chicago. And then you see the demographic there on the screen. It was a male-female split, age 30 to 55, household income of 100 to 200K. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to find out, do the consumers have the same opinion as the industry? And this is what we found. Results indicated preference for number 2 and number 4, validating the outcomes of the previous testing. They picked the same ones you guys did. Not bad, right? And then what we saw was that data showed that number 2 aligns more closely with our higher income target. The other thing we wanted to do, which we kind of like slid this in there at the last minute, was we wanted to ask people when they think of our destination, what name really resonates with them. And interestingly, Visit Lauderdale is a good name. 82% of the respondents said that that is an accurate way to describe ourselves. And if you can see at the bottom, we also said Broward County, we said Broward County FL, we said Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, and Pompano Beach, and we said Greater Fort Lauderdale. Now, lots of love to our Hollywood and Pompano Beach friends. Absolutely, I know that this is a constant discussion, but the way that the consumers see it, turns out that Visit Lauderdale is a really accurate way to describe us, and that's important as we go through this branding initiative. And then, okay, so the other thing we asked them, just to slide in an extra survey question, percentage of people willing to travel to a given destination. So you can look at this later. I won't go too deeply into it, but you just kind of see that people are wanting to travel to Fort Lauderdale. And then compared to our competitors as well. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our new logo. So one of the things that I think is fantastic about this logo is it's got a little bit of a vintage feel, but I think it's also modern at the same time. And, we get our tagline in there. There's that kind of nice curve in the A's. So we get the font with some movement. What is really great is that Aqua, and I don't know that we have it today, but I'll make sure that you guys get a copy of the logo when there's some movement to it. And so Aqua was able to do this presentation for us where they showed the logo moving. So you kind of see the waves moving and stuff, which is really cool. So I don't know if you guys want to comment on the logo. If you have anything bad to say, I don't know that I can do anything about it at this point.
I'm going to say, I remember the A had the wave through it.
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer it this way because they smile.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. Excellent. Yes. Okay, so that's a really good point. Ari noticed that the color shifted, and shout out to Keith Blackburn. I think he was the one that mentioned that the yellow originally was a little bit overpowering. So Keith, we heard you. We kind of muted that down a little bit. You'll have to let me know if you think that yellow is to your liking. But I think the palette does a nice job of speaking to our destination.
I think it looks great, Cara, and I want to, first of all, acknowledge this committee, because we gave a lot of good input, but I also want to acknowledge the team, because I asked to go out and do focus groups, right?
We did.
Because it's one thing for us to say what we say, but really it's the people that are going to come here or not that we want to hear from. So I really appreciate the work you did and the way you did this very methodically and professionally to get that input, so that the alignment is not only with us, but it's people out there that said that. And I also love that 82% of people out there said, visit Lauderdale, because it kind of takes the mystery out of it and the guesswork. And at the end of the day, folks, it's what people think about us, not what we think about ourselves in terms of whether they're going to book that plane, get in that car, book a hotel room, and come on down.
Yes, absolutely.
So thank you very much.
And it's a great case study for this committee and how important you are. And I hope that you know that when you give your opinions, that we take them and we figure out what we can do to make what we're doing better. Okay, so next thing, brand rollout. So we're in the brainstorming stages of this still, but I think what we want to do is we want to make sure, and this is really important to Stacy as well, that we do some really great community initiative where we do a brand rollout. So here are some ideas. I'm not going to spend too much time on this today, but I would love it if anybody wants to reach out and let me know if you have some ideas as well. But that is forthcoming. Now, to new campaign creative. So this is exciting. This is a really great opportunity for Aqua to show us what they can do. I'm proud of what they've put together for us. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background of how we got to our new campaign creative. So before creating a campaign targeting those who've shown an intention for winter travel, We needed to determine a strong central message that could run consistently throughout all media and channels, and our intention is to entice the traveler in a way that is consistent with the new brand, presents the destination in an upscale, edgy, and welcoming way, and connects with their current needs and desires. That's why the research is so key. So the concept is, what makes this beach different? Sure, a beach is a beach is a beach, but what makes it different and attractive? Somebody just spoke.
If you're on the line, could you please mute, please? Thank you.
Man, right in the middle when I'm like unveiling the concept. I'm stumbling over myself all kinds of ways today. That's okay, right? So what makes our destination truly different and attractive is that beyond our stunning beaches is an exciting, unique community that's different from anything else in the United States. This approach strongly supports the new brand by utilizing our new brand tagline as the central theme. So the question is, what makes this beach different? And the answer is, everyone under the sun.
Hit it!
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about. Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
You see the waves? Yeah, so technology be damned, right? So probably what happened with GoToMeeting is that there may have been some catch on that. So if somebody from Aqua or on my team can send in the chat the link to the video, that way if you're watching from a different location, you can see it without the catch in it. But everybody in the room got to see it on the board. I think it played okay. I would have amped up the music a little bit, but that's just me. And so we'll make sure that you have that and can watch it again later. And of course, we're going to promote the heck out of it. So that's kind of the unveiling of our new campaign and utilizing our new branding. And as you can see, the waves moving in the logo, which I happen to think is really cool. So the other thing, so we've got these really great animated banner ads.
Hold on one sec, Kara. I just want to find out if there's any comments, questions, input on anything that you saw so far.
I just think it looks great. I've been on the board for 3 years now, and it's drastic improvements. Well done.
Thank you.
And are we going to, I know you're doing the campaign, are you going to then tell us where this is going to be seen?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Also showing you just kind of a snapshot of what our animated banner ads will look like in the same campaign. These have some movement to it as well, and technology prevents us in this hybrid setting to be able to show you that, but we're going to make sure that you have that in your inboxes later. So now to Carmen's question is, how are we paying for this, and where are we blasting it out? So approval of one-time use funds has allowed Visit Lauderdale to significantly expand recovery advertising efforts to capture as much demand as possible through the end of the fiscal year. Given the unpredictable nature of customer sentiment and travel restrictions, this plan primarily consists of digital media programs. Digital advertising provides the control of interest-based targeting and quick change order response if necessary. Additionally, digital activations allow for tactics in the action stages of the planning funnel, putting Visit Lauderdale in front of the consumer when they are ready to purchase. While timing is distributed throughout the remainder of the fiscal year, the leisure allocation has been weighted to capture remaining demand for winter, and a luxury audience allocation has also been isolated to support ADR recovery for this category with customized household income and interest layering. It's a fancy way to say that we're putting most of our money towards the leisure market, and then we're carving out a little segment for the luxury market as well. And if you guys, I'm so sorry, because I'm like, the writing is so small, and so I'm like bending down to try to read it to you. Okay, so this is what we're looking at as far as budget and timing. Timing is from now until the end of our fiscal, which is September, which a bulk of it we're going to do for winter to try to get that extra push. What you're going to see here is you see 65% we're going to spend in the vacation, typical leisure market, 10% in the meetings market, and then what we're also going to do, which I think is really exciting, we're working with Tracy Vaughn on this project as well, is to reach out to the airlines for some airline partnerships. And then you see the leisure distribution, so you see our timing here, as well as the segments that I was mentioning where we're going to put a significant amount into the luxury budget. All right, geographic targeting. So our primary targeting, this is going to be 70%, is going to go to New York, Chicago, Boston, Philly, DC, and Atlanta. And then our secondary target markets are Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Raleigh-Durham, Charlotte, and Pittsburgh. So our primary focus will be on reaching our traditional northern winter markets, while secondarily opening up to markets of opportunity. Secondary markets were identified based on population size and the level of post-pandemic interest and or inquiry through our website, and as well as lift to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. So as you see here, this is how we came up with, we looked at the numbers here, and this is how we came up to our markets of opportunity analysis. So I'm not going to spend too much time. This is very much like data driven, but you have this here for the record if you'd like to study it later. All right, so we're going to hit the big names again. So New York Times, Condé Nast, you know, the great thing about carving out some of this money for a luxury audience is we can hit a publication like Afar digitally. And I think that's going to be great for us. Travelocity, we all thought the roaming gnome was fantastic last year. So as soon as it's safe to bring him back, we want to do that again. Travel and Leisure, of course. TripAdvisor, Expedia, Matador Network, you know how they put together some great videos for us in the past. I think we can do that again. And so the Marcom team complements these efforts, of course, with integrated proactive public relations, content development strategies, niche promotions, and a social media outreach program to further amplify the destination. My team worked so hard, you guys, and they are the best. And I'm not just saying that because they're watching me today. They are very good at what they do, and I'm so thankful to them. And, you know, throughout this process, especially when the CVB has been working from home, they have spent more hours, I think, working from home than they did in the office, because these people, I'm telling you, they're rock stars. So super proud of my team. Had to get that in there. I did want to give you a slide about the airline partnership because I think this is going to be key for us. I think this is a really important way to spend this extra money. I didn't mention this, I think, before. What we're talking about is $4 million. And we're talking about 25% of that, spending it on new airline partnerships. So we're calling up Southwest, Spirit, United, American, and JetBlue. And we're going to find out what can we do to, you know, further boost these relationships. And then we also want to take a look at where Lyft exists to pick out the markets based on where they're already going. So it may be that for American, we work on certain cities. For Spirit, we work on other cities. So that's our goal. We're at the very beginning of this. And so if anybody wants to, you know, join us in that effort, contact me later and let me know. That'll be a tag team effort by Tracy and myself. All right, general Marcom updates. You know, I always want to make sure that you guys have all of the information. You know that we're working hard and we show the proof in the pudding. So I don't want to, you know, I know we've been here a long time and I don't want to spend too much time with this, but I do want to make sure that you realize for our boutique properties, did you guys hear that Superior Small Lodging went ahead and dissolved? So they are no longer an entity, and they came to us saying, you know, we're hurting really bad just like everybody else. We heard that loud and clear, and so what we did is we developed a campaign for them. We called it Boutique Properties, and you can later on, if you're really interested to see what we did, this kind of breaks it down, but I just wanted to make sure that for the record, it was all in this slide presentation for you. But again, you know, we did specific banner support, we did videos, we created content for them. And then here's where I wanted to get to, the campaign results. So paid advertising in December delivered over 1 million impressions and nearly 15,000 clicks. That's really good, you guys. Boutique Properties landing page is #5 top visited page on sunny.org with over 11,000 sessions since campaign launch. And this is when they didn't have that much visibility before. So this is just an example of what we can really do to help. Yes, Ari has a question.
Can I just ask how much was invested in that campaign?
That's a great question. Why don't, Katie, if you don't mind asking Trisha or Fran if we know the amount. How many? 30,000.
That came from the boutique properties themselves?
No, the 30,000 was out of our budget. Yes, so 30,000. So you see, we do a lot with 30,000. I think I skipped over. Okay, content update. If you haven't had a chance to look at sunny.org recently, I would really encourage you to do that because we are constantly refreshing our content. Here's a few new pieces that we've just put out. So again, won't spend too much time on it, but I want you to know that it's there and we're working hard. PR highlights. The PR team has been working extremely hard. So we've got some top tier story placements. It's all listed here: Montreal Gazette, National Geographic, Meetings Today, Preview Meetings, Convene, Lonely Planet. Of course, the Sun Sentinel loves to write about us. It's not always good, but when it is, we get happy. Brazil Travel News, San Francisco Business Journal, Florida Trend, Venice Magazine, Travel Press, as you see. And then constantly conducting outreach. And then we've also engaged Aqua to tap their PR experts to help us going forward as well. So lots of good stuff happening in PR and then also in social media. You guys know Heidi. Heidi will be coming back from maternity leave soon, so we've been holding down the fort without her, which makes us all realize how hard her job actually is. So huge kudos to the team for holding down the fort without Heidi, and we are excited to get her back. Here are some of the highlights that we've been working on while she's gone. I do want to talk about, we launched the In the Kitchen with the Greater Fort Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival series. So you can find those videos on YouTube, and that was a really cool thing that we've been pushing out recently. And also, you guys probably saw the Winterfest videos. We did that story time with Santa, and we did some fun activations with them as well. So the key thing I want to get you to is the last bullet point. Paid social delivered over 11.4 million impressions with 96,000 plus ad clicks since October 1st. So those are some really healthy, good numbers there. I'm always going to bring it back to the numbers. So, all right, website highlights. We've been working hard to continue to update. Richard is very excited because we have a refresh of our LGBT plus microsite. He and Rita on my team have been working very hard on that, so I encourage you to take a look. And Safe and Clean update. So no matter what we do, we always want to make sure that we come back to this original campaign that when the pandemic hit, we launched the Safe and Clean pledge. So 540 businesses have taken it that far so far. Huge shout out to Lauderhill. And I think this is Denise Grant who is behind this. If you guys know her, she's fantastic. She has signed up so many businesses in Lauderhill for the Safe and Clean pledge. So I know we've had quite a few from Lauderdale by the Sea as well. So, this isn't something that ends today. The more businesses that we can say have taken this pledge, the better for as customers come and visit us. All right, that's it. What I want to point you to is the appendix, and these are our brand guidelines. I'm not going to go through this because you've seen this before, but I just wanted to make sure that for the record, if anytime somebody wanted to pull up this presentation, our brand guidelines are here as well.
Okay, so folks, first of all, extraordinary, Kara. To you and your team for putting all this together, and for Aqua. I know they're in the back of the room. Part of Aqua is back in the back of the room. So really, really thank you very much for all the work you've been doing on behalf of all of us. So I know we went through this very quickly, folks, okay? So I'm really encouraging you to take it home, or if you're at home, read it at home, and go through it in detail. Are we going to actually get a link to this presentation?
Absolutely, you'll get a link.
So you'll have time to delve into it. And as you know, Kara always welcomes your comments and your input, so give them to her. She takes them very seriously, okay? So, all right, I'm going to tell you this now. The vote was 11 yes, 8 no for Visit Florida, which means it will now go to the Tourist Development Council, and I'm actually recommending Tim Petrillo, who's the vice chair of this committee, who serves on our Tourist Development Council, to bring that forth. Obviously, it's not a unanimous decision. There's a lot of different viewpoints on that, but the other vote that was unanimous for this MAC was to, in fact, invite Visit Florida into our next meeting or whatever they can be scheduled. So I want to let you know that as well. I also want to say one other thing, folks. Whether you're from go to meetings, or whether you're in this room, this is our last meeting as this Marketing Advisory Committee. And many of you have served on it for many, many years. Some of you will continue to serve on it. Some of you won't. As you know, some of you live not in Broward County, like Amanda, okay? And we will certainly miss her and her input, but hopefully she'll still give input whether or not she's at the table. But I want to say to each and every one of you, for however long you've been on this committee, you've made a difference. You show up, and whether you say anything at these meetings, you give Kara a lot of input in her emails and her comments, etc. And the team really listens to it. But I want to thank you. You know, it takes time, it takes energy, it takes your expertise to really make a difference for all of us. So I'm telling you from me, I've been on this MAC for 25 years, a long time. I was the first woman they put on a long time ago, okay? So you can see one of the parts of the diversity of this community is it's changed in that regard as well. But this group of people and who you represent and your input has really made an invaluable difference, particularly now. But I want you to know from me, and I'm also saying this on behalf of Kara and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, although I'm not officially saying it on behalf of them, but, you know. So
Hey, you can say it on behalf of them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you is a very inadequate word for what you've provided and what you continue to provide and what you provide out in the marketplace, because that's really what makes the difference, is what you do every single day, and you do it tirelessly. So did you get my acknowledgement? You're welcome. So we're going to close this in a moment, okay? Kara, extraordinary job. To you and your whole team, and Aqua, and Stacy, and the whole team of the CVB, which is operating just like all of us with a diminished staff, but not a diminished enthusiasm, okay? So really quite remarkable. And, but I want to just go around very, very quickly, because we always save time at the end of the meeting for you to say what you need to say about what's going on in your own properties or what's going on with you personally. But I need to keep this short, guys, so no more than like 2 minutes each, starting with, I can't see you across the room, Carmen, okay?
Hi, everybody, and I'm going to take a moment of privilege also to thank you for leading our group all these years. You've been amazing as a chairperson. We appreciate it. It's been my privilege to serve on this committee, whether I stay or not. And thank you, Kara, for doing such an amazing job. So very quickly, the Broward Center, even though I'm no longer working for Riverwalk A&E, unfortunately, my program has disbanded. I still represent the arts, and I continue to communicate with them. The Broward Center recently had, in its back area, in its back patio, they hosted Rob Schneider, and they had 2 different performances. They were able to have 200 people that were separated. They were outside. Everybody loved it. So it was really nice to sort of have, you know, live entertainment sort of back into that space, even though it was an outdoor space. So they're making some progress in that regard. Also, the Bonnet House has some really cool things coming up. And one of them is that they're doing, you'll be able to spend a night inside the Bonnet House. And it's a $5,000 a couple. They're going to be launching it in February. They've renovated sort of that suite that belonged to Evelyn Bartlett, and people will be able to stay there. They have a lot of other really cool things going on, but I think what's nice about that is as they move forward, they'll be able to do some partnerships with area hotels, and you can stay in the property and maybe one night stay inside the house. So it's a really good opportunity. So there's a lot of movement in the arts, and they're really trying to get back on their feet, and there's some wonderful, wonderful opportunities coming up. Fingers crossed it all stays that way. Thank you, Ina.
Thank you. So in regards to our restaurants, I would say that obviously 2020 was a disaster.
Wait, for the record, it's Tim Petrillo speaking.
Petrillo, yeah. Obviously 2020 was a disaster and a challenge, is an understatement. However, since about just the boat show moving forward, we have been steadily climbing back to our same store sales of last year. We're only down about now 15 to 20%, which is good considering the lunch business downtown is not, there's no one downtown. It's non-existent. And corporate and event business is non-existent. So it's really just a la carte. And I really believe that people have COVID fatigue. They want to get out. They're tired of being cooped up, and we're seeing a strong trend with that.
Melissa Milroy. Yeah, I do want to echo Carmen's sentiments. It is and always has been a privilege to serve on this committee, and I think we all, whether we agree or disagree on how we move forward, we've always had the best interests of the destination at hand or in our hearts. For Galleria, I will say that, like Tim, obviously for all of us, 2020 has been a difficult, to say the least, year. Retail has definitely taken a hit. There's no surprise there. Restaurants, not surprisingly, but actually have continued to perform very well. Cooper's Hawk is reopening next week, so we're excited about that. February 1st will be their reopening date. And so, I think from a shopping perspective, we still have modified hours. We're not back to normal hours, although we did extend them over the holidays. We're back to 11 to 8 and 12 to 6 on Sundays. So slowly increasing where we can. And, looking to continue to fill spaces with some of the closures that we've had that aren't just at Galleria, but just, nationally, on a national level. So exciting things are on the horizon. I would just say stay tuned.
Hi, Amanda Harris, the Diplomat Beach Resort. So I was furloughed from the Diplomat, and Diplomat is still temporarily closed through March, as we know right now. But since then, I started my own consulting agency, and I am living in Miami, as Ina said. So this will be my last meeting, and I have just been honored to be a part of this. So thank you all so much. But I am proud to say that some of my clients in Miami, we are now open 7 days a week. We're doing 900 covers a night at some of the restaurants. And people, as Tim said, do have fatigue, and we're slowly saving jobs in hospitality. So look forward to that happening for Fort Lauderdale and Miami and everybody getting back to work. Thank you.
John Boughton, Windjammer Resort in Lauderdale by the Sea. 2020 was difficult, but I'm proud to say, number one, we were able to keep all of our staff. We didn't furlough anybody throughout the entire time. So we still retained everyone and kept their income going. So that's very, very proud moment for me. I also wanted to say that we're down about 30% for 2020 from the year previous. I do know that for us, I wanted to also say that based on the CDC requirements and what we had to do, we're leisure travel 100% really. So everybody adapted very, very well to what we had to do, especially in the areas of housekeeping. And so that was really good for everyone concerned. I do know that in Lauderdale by the Sea, the retail shops and the restaurants did suffer horribly. We did lose some, but we are kind of fortunate that once it was relaxed a little bit, that we have the town work with us to bring all the sidewalks to be able to allow the restaurants to bring everything out and build temporary shelters for everyone. So they recovered probably faster, but it's still very difficult. And then on a personal note, I wanted to say that there has been so much suffering and horrible things that happened in 2020. But it's funny that when you see that, you can have silver linings, because for me personally, 2020 was probably one of the best years I've ever had in my life. So I want to just let everybody know that I got very, very healthy. I'm very lean, and I found a new way of getting healthy, and I appreciate it. And I look really forward that all the indications that we're having from our people that return year after year, even though we lost the international tourism, which is really difficult for us this year, it seems as though with the advent of the discounts and promotional things that we do, we're finding people they book much later, meaning sometimes only 7 to 10 days out. But we're starting to fill our vacancies, and what looked like a disaster for the season is now looking not so bad. So I look forward to a really good season for 2021.
Meredith McCleary, formerly Ebony Heritage Travel. Being as a travel advisor or consultant, you know that it is completely flat. People are coming to Florida, and that is good. But the agency that I have worked with since my retirement from the school system for the past 20 years has downsized, and it gave me the opportunity to do a second retirement. So I'm now working as MEM consultant for myself and starting a new venture. Before I forget, because certain things come with age and privileges, I do want to express my thanks for being on the MAC Advisory Committee for I don't know how many years. I think right after I retired, and that was in 1996. I've learned a lot, and I appreciate the fact that the members of the committee have listened to my opinions and points of view, and Kara has been a jewel in listening and responding to whatever it has been, and I can see that it has made a difference along with some of the others of you on the board. So it's been a pleasure. There is a possibility that this is my last meeting, and I do appreciate you, Anna. I keep up with her daily on Facebook and etc. But her support and openness has made it a pleasure to serve, even with all of you that I've gotten to know. So again, thank you. I do have a question, but maybe I should hold it to the end, and that is the status of Al Tucker's position. I'm through. Thank you.
Hi, Chris Bielski, Harbor Beach. Businesses from a leisure standpoint has been very strong, and it's outpaced our original projections. So we've have reprojected our entire year. Group is probably not going to come back fast. So even though leisure is up, we had budgeted some certain amount of group business for the rest of the year. That seems to be shifting out. All groups are shifting out of the summer. And right now, we are projecting, those larger groups not to come in. There's a few of them that said they're still coming, but every time they say that, they end up canceling. But we're really encouraged. Our leisure numbers are higher than they were last year. But that's not saying a lot because we had so much group on the books last year, so we couldn't take the leisure. So, but it's still encouraging that it's higher than it was last year. As far as any updates, you're sitting at, this Ocean Ballroom was renovated and completed over the summer. And we've had very little use of it, but we are using it. We've booked social events. We used it between Christmas and New Year's for the Orange Bowl. We hosted the University of North Carolina. They came in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and checked out Sunday. And we had a full house basically from the week of Christmas. We ran an average of about 90% occupancy. It was nuts. But we were able to get through it and take great care of our customers. That's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Bob Kiesler, Gallery 1, Doubletree Suites by Hilton. First of all, let me say a big congratulations to Stacy and Cara and your entire team. Having watched the last 10, 12 years of being in this market and seeing the Convention Visitors Bureau move from, we won't use any word, but becoming much more energized, much more data-driven, and really looking and willing to try new things and be more cutting edge is a true breath of fresh air. So hats off to the entire team. It's been a great transition to see what's transpired. As far as business is concerned, interestingly enough, we continue to see leisure growing steadily, week over week over week. And being a smaller hotel with smaller meeting space and event ready by Hilton, we're actually beginning to see some very small group come back. Not large, 10, 15, 20 rooms here and there. Small meetings, very much resembling, takes an entire ballroom now to host 20 people. But nevertheless, we're seeing a lot of green shoots, and it's very encouraging. So thanks.
Jim Pancella, Lagomar Resort. And again, great job, Kara and Aqua team. And I love your enthusiasm, Kara. Great job, thank you. And Ina is not only a leader here at the MAC, but she's a leader in Broward County for tourism. And, you know, if you don't know what Ina does for this community and tourism, get to know her even more, because she does a great job to keep us all in the loop on what's going on, keeps everybody on their toes, commissioners and mayors and so on and so forth. So thank you very much for what you do. Again, pretty much the same thing as Bob and Chris as far as leisure goes. We had a great week between Christmas and New Year's. We sold out almost a couple nights. And again, we see constant business picking up every day, and we can't believe it, but how fast the business is picking up. People staying over because the weather's so nice, last minute bookings. And so really pleased on what's going on with the leisure. And it's all leisure. The same thing with Bob and Chris, you know, 25, 15 group people who come in here, and that's about it. We don't get any, we're not really a big group hotel anyway, but here and there we're getting a trickle of a few people, you know, to come in for groups. So that's pretty much what they said. Thank you.
Thank you. Ari Glassman and, you know, Ina, this is we're all acknowledging. I've known you for more than half my life. You've been a huge mentor, and I appreciate your recommendation about bringing myself onto this board as well. It has been, out of all of those boards, you know, the one that I actually really enjoy going to, and the conversations are great, and the input, and especially Kara, since you've, you know, joined in, and this new leadership, I feel like the time being spent is worth it, and, you know, contributes to the greater good. The 2020, I think the biggest thing, and I don't know if you're using still the tagline "Greater Together," but I think that had been kind of the mantra that really went through everything, that we all really needed to pull together, and we all really did as a community, as our businesses. You know, we realized we needed to lean on one another, and hopefully, as I'm seeing through people that I'm working with, and everyone else, that's going to continue. And I think it really just makes us even stronger, that we've reignited that bond and our commitment to all get out of this together. For myself, for my business, in June I was appointed as a consultant with the City of Fort Lauderdale's Parks and Recreation Department, overseeing the new parks that are on Fort Lauderdale Beach. I'll officially start on February 1st, although I've been working not only with their team, but with my team and the CVB on aligning messages, on doing safe, clean events, so that when visitors do come to this area, they've got really wonderful ways to discover what Greater Fort Lauderdale and my little corner of it on Fort Lauderdale Beach is all about, and what our people and our everyone under the sun enjoy to do. We were working together, we're talking through things, which has been unbelievable, to come up with plans, and then also, you know, using that Safe Clean initiative as our, really at the forefront, that we can show people that are coming here, we can show our residents how they can go out and enjoy themselves, and do it in a very responsible manner, that you can still have fun. And we've got a lot coming up. So you had said in the loop, that's what it'll be. I hope you'll all follow what we're doing, and stay in the loop with us, because it's going to be awesome. Thank you.
I will. I'm going to read Joellen's really quick, since I don't believe she has any audio. It's the Sawgrass, and she says they've been fortunate to open several new stores, including Fendi Outlet in the Colonnades and Primark in the main Sawgrass Mills. Also, Ellen had to jump off. Ellen Kennedy says that she wanted to share that they're cautiously optimistic for cruise ships to begin sailing again in May. The cruise lines are working diligently to meet the guidelines set out by the CDC's conditional sail order, which may change with the new administration. Also, the Valeria Caribbean Ferry is scheduled to begin sailing again to the Bahamas starting February 11th, once a week. And then I'm just going to go across the top as I see you all. So Steve Bellamy, you're up.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I sent a recap out yesterday, so I think that in the interest of time, I see we're running out. Maybe I'll just pass, but if anybody has any questions or would like to for me to elaborate on any of that stuff that I sent to everybody that was on the invite list, just shoot me an email or give me a call. Thanks.
Hi, this is Pam Adams. I just want to say that it's been a pleasure to serve on this board. Not sure that I'll be reappointed, but if so, I look forward to further service. Wanted to let you know that the African American Research Library, which is one of our gem destinations in the county, has really done a great job pivoting during this time of COVID. Once the library's open, we have a new exhibit there that's called The Porch. The tree is what is watering. The exhibit opened in December, and it's a fabulous exhibit of artists from the Tri-County area. And I would encourage you to come and see this exhibit. We certainly have instituted safe social distancing practices. Only 15 people are included in the gallery at one time. It's been my desire for this board, the MAC, to take a visit to the African American Research Library as we expand how we represent the diversity of our destination, which is all of Broward County. And I do hope, Kara, at some time we'll be able to move forward and make that happen, even if it's a small group. There really are a lot of treasures there. Coming up next month, there'll be a play about the life of Esther Roll, who is a Broward County resident who's deceased, TV and film actress. So there are a lot of things going on in Northwest Fort Lauderdale, and we hope that you will work with us to encourage your customers to join us and visit the African American Research Library and Cultural Center. Thank you.
Pam, maybe we could host one of our upcoming meetings there. We could do some research on that and figure out, that would be a really cool thing to do.
Thank you. I'll work with you on that.
All right, Susan?
Hi, everyone. Susan with the Marriott Resort and Spa down in Pompano Beach. I'll use my 30 seconds to thank Ina as well. Ina actually took me by the hand literally 10 to 12 years ago with my first sales leadership job at the Atlantic Hotel on Fort Lauderdale Beach, and she stressed to me the importance of getting involved in the community. And it started with Beach Council, and then I was appointed to MAC, and that certainly taught me through my career how important it is to have a seat at the table. And as a result, the passion you have for your industry and in turn translates to my hotel property has been tremendous. So it's a privilege to serve on the MAC. I hope I'm reappointed for sure. And better things for 2021, like the others have said, we're seeing leisure travel come back. That's super encouraging. And our company is finding some silver lining in all of this. Not good for some others, I know, but we've been able to use this opportunity to go out and acquire some new management contracts. So for our company, Ergo Hotels and Resorts, maybe some brighter spots towards the end of the year as a result.
Thanks, Susan. Keith?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'd like to start by saying it's been an honor and pleasure to serve on the MAC. It's been nice getting to know you all as well. And I'll see you again if I'm appointed again. If not, we'll definitely connect. As far as updates go, our visitor center, our LGBT visitor center has remained open except for the short closure that the county required last year. So we're open, we're operating, we're welcoming visitors. It's starting to pick up. We're also publishing, we're a little bit late this year getting some ads, but we're publishing our annual LGBT plus travel guide. And we're excited about that and excited to see what happens for the rest of 2021 and beyond. So thank you all.
Thanks, Keith. Michael Solomon? Christina? Carol? Bobby Rodriguez.
Good morning, everybody.
Carol,
First of all, I'd
sign
like
that.
to say
Sorry, Bobby. Go ahead.
what a great job Kara and your team you've done today, and the wonderful video. I loved it. It's a great presentation. Pardon me. As you know, I'm in the events and entertainment industry, and we pretty much have been shut down for the last 10 months. My business is 100% down, unfortunately. And the Renaissance Festival, which would have opened up in 4 weeks, I've made the very difficult decision to close it this year. So this is also going to be a very difficult year for me. That's the bad news. The good news is I think the events industry is going to have an incredible turnaround as we get later into the year. And for that reason, I've decided to produce 2 new events, one for the month of October, which will be a fall festival, and then in December, a Christmas holiday festival, which we're going to be producing for the whole month of December. So I'm excited for the future and hoping to hang in there for the rest of this year.
And we're excited about that digital holiday event, especially, Bobby. That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think if
my
anyone
voice
else
come
has
back
anything-
on yet?
I'm sorry, who's that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's Michael Solomon.
Oh, hi.
Well, 2020 got behind us. All things are good, I guess. We're progressing very well. It's nice to be part of a revenue center for our hotel properties and not a cost center. So I think they like our existence and meeting the arrival experience and the fond farewell for these guests that are actually taking the time, spending the money, and fighting the COVID to come visit our destination. It's been great. We keep putting more drivers on the road, more cars on the road. Business is doing very well. We're very excited about that. Our guests tell us they don't want to be in an Uber, a taxi cab. They feel safer in our clean and sterilized cars and stuff. So that's worked out very good for us. You know, my last 16 years on the MAC has been interesting. We'll see what happens in the future. But I wish everybody great success.
Thank you, Michael. Also, Carol wrote, it's been a pleasure working with all of you. The CVB and the MAC have an amazing group of people. We are better together. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon. You as well, Carol. Anybody else?
Yes,
Okay, just to address Meredith's question, she asked about Albert Tucker's job, and I'm so, I don't know how to say how big of an issue it's been that we haven't been able to fill that quicker. It's just a huge gap. That's just me speaking personally, not on behalf of anybody. We miss him so much. That position is still moving forward. I think it's stuck in some county bureaucracy situation, if I can say that. I believe there's a recruiting firm that's involved, and I think that's kind of where it's stuck. But the hope is definitely to get somebody in that position as soon as we can. Also, just a heads up, Lauderdale's, we'll be talking about that next time around. And that's it.
Okay. Oops. It's hard to talk. So in a minute, we're going to officially close this meeting. And again, I want to thank Chris and your team, Aqua, and your team for doing the video, the technology that was required for this. I want to apologize to people that are on the GoToMeetings. Normally at these meetings, I always ask for input from people outside of the MAC. And just because of time, we didn't do that today. But I'm encouraging you to please send your comments on anything you saw or heard. And send them to Kara, okay? And she will make sure that we take a look at that. And again, I apologize for not giving you the opportunity to give your input, because your input is always important, okay? And to all of you, I wish you, above all, be safe, you and your families. I think we all know that this is not over, and it will be at some point in time. But what we are doing to position this destination, you've heard very differently from people today than you did a few months ago. It's starting to recover, okay? Not only starting to recover, some properties are really, really kicking you-know-what. So, and that's all a really good sign, folks. So to all of you, I wish you well. I wish you safety, and I love you. So, and I need officially a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
And if anybody.
Anyone object?
If
All right,
anybody
thank you,
needs
everybody.
Discounted parking, I've got vouchers for discounted parking.